All right, everyone, welcome back to Heavy and Hungry Podcast. This is episode number 8. We are welcoming back Dr. Junaid Vardar, Doctor of Sports Medicine. Um, and we are going to jump right into the topic here today. After a brief introduction, we're going to be talking all about sports and fitness psychology, the psychology of getting fit, getting in shape, and the psychology of injury and setbacks and how to come back from that. Um, Dr. Vardar or Junaid, how are you doing today, man?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing well. 3 weeks out from bodybuilding show, just trying to trying to push through each day, man. Trying to win each day. That's it.
Love it. Love it. That's all it's about.
Um, Without further ado, um, essentially my goal today is to understand what separates the people who stay consistent and the ones who keep restarting, kind of keep creating this cycle over and over again. Start, it's too hard, quit, restart, it's too hard, quit. All right, so the first question I wanted to ask you is, as far as fitness, why do people know what to do but don't follow through on it? Like, we all know what to do. Like, if you're overweight, you know you need to move more and eat less calories. Like, that's pretty universal at this point. So why do people know this, but they just still don't do what it takes to be fit?
Yep. Yeah, great question. I would almost contest that and say people know the basics of what to do. Like you said, eat less and exercise more, but they actually don't know what to do because I mean, you've probably seen it more, but I've seen it a bunch where someone that's overweight that wants to lose weight will do this crazy intense calorie deficit, lose 30 pounds, 3 months later, gain everything back, maybe plus some. So I would argue they do not know what to do. They need somebody to hold their hand at least for the first couple stages, and then they can take it from there and run with it. But to go even further, it comes one piece of it is discipline. The other piece is consistency. I feel like they go hand in hand. And I would always tell people in my practice, doing a little bit every day is better than doing a lot once in a while.
Mhm,
So if you're just hitting some goal, whether it's a tiny, tiny goal, whether that's like drinking enough water a day, every day or every other day, that's so much better than drinking a ton of water once a week.
mhm,
The key is consistency, and that's the very kind of general answer, but
mhm,
that's literally what it comes down to with everything.
for sure. Yeah, and discipline ties into that. Now, just to dive deeper a little bit into this specific topic, you mentioned, doing a little bit for a long period of time, like doing the basics, like going on one walk every day instead of doing 3 hours on the stairmaster once a week, something like that.
Yep.
Now, what is it specifically? Do you think psychologically that draws people towards that all or nothing? Um, you know, you know, I'm gonna go on a run. I'm gonna run 4 miles today, even though they didn't really start with going on one walk.
Mm,
What draws us as human beings to that stage before just starting small?
yeah, yeah. I'm sure everyone has experienced this when you watch like a super cool movie and you get this huge burst of motivation and I'm going to change my life tomorrow. You go to the gym and you sleep 8 hours, you go to the gym for 2 hours, you read a book, and then you eat 3 square meals. And then the next day you're like, holy shit, I want to sit on my phone for 3 hours now because I just did so much the day before and I deserve it. And then
Mhm,
the next day, best case scenario, the day after that, you do something good for yourself. But odds are you're going to go straight back into your habits. So there's a difference between motivation and discipline. I characterize motivation as a short-term burst of, I want to change everything about myself. I saw this, I either spoke to somebody who gave me this crazy advice, or I saw this movie, loved it, or I read this book, and that's just not gonna happen. It's the tiny little things that you do every single day that turn into long-term solidified habits.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. And that topic of motivation versus discipline, that topic comes up anywhere you look in fitness. Now, I guess the next question I have for you is when someone gets that spark of motivation, that 3 a.m., like you're scrolling at 3 a.m. and you watch a David Goggins video and get this spark of motivation. How do you turn that spark into an actual fire and, kind of like a campfire that lasts longer than 3 days? Like how practically, how can someone take that spark and turn it into something sustainable?
That's the hardest thing to do. I think that's the hardest thing a human being, one of the hardest things a human being can do ever, is break a bad habit that they've been doing for so long. Like I had some bad habits myself that I've been trying to break, and it's it's coming along, but once it's been solidified so long in your mind and your daily habits, you have to accept the fact that it's going to take a long time. And with this kind of, I don't know if it's our generation or how humanity, which direction humanity is going, but people love the quick fixes that we talked about before. They love the, how can I get rich as quick as possible? How can I get healthy as quick as possible? How can I make my habits, bad habits, go away as quick as possible, lose weight as quick as like people, there's absolutely no way around not eating shit for years. Like you have to just suck it up and do it. It's just not going to happen any other way.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people kind of expect to start any journey really, and um, every journey starts off with wanting to arrive at the destination as quick as possible. Especially, I feel like nowadays with the social media era, everybody wants everything yesterday. You know, people aren't willing to take the months and years that it takes to actually solidify their purpose and solidify their goals and actually reach them. Um, I see this in bodybuilding, just as an example. A lot of people want to do a bodybuilding show. Like the thought of getting shredded is like incredible. And the thought of applying yourself to one thing for 12, 16, 20 weeks is incredible. Like that feeling of thinking about being at the destination is it awesome.
That's a
And
great
then
point. Sorry to cut
and
you off.
then
Go
no,
ahead.
you're fine. And then day 1 of your diet comes and you're like, "Oh shoot, I got to do this for 16 weeks." And
Yep.
then, people kind of fall off of it because it's uncomfortable. But I like to say I'd rather live in an uncomfortable heaven than a comfortable hell because if I keep if I keep myself comfortable each day, I just fall back into the habits that my monkey brain got used to every single day, kind of like part of that rat race, not to be like a red pill guru, but if you don't challenge yourself every day and do difficult things that you don't want to do, but also excel you every day, you will inevitably fall back into your goal, into your kind of comfort. So what do you recommend people to get themselves out of that place of comfort and into a place of discomfort, but that discomfort will actually help them, elevate themselves?
Well, backtracking a little bit because you made a point that I really remind me of something. Like we're talking about a lot of like success, how to reach success, how to reach your goals. Some people that I've met, patients wise, coworkers wise, colleagues wise, they literally just want to do enough, and that's completely fine. Literally just wanting to get by, do enough, watch TV, and like go out on the weekends. If that's what you truly want to do, like that is completely okay. And I love that for you. Like the only thing that runs me up a wall and grinds my gears is when you do that and expect to be better.
Mm,
That's when I'm like, all right, like that's when I start thinking this person doesn't understand like true reality. They're delusional, blah, blah, blah. When people are just clocking in, clocking out, doing nothing outside of work, not working out, not doing X, Y, and Z, and then they're expecting. That's when I'm like, okay,
mm.
enough said out of you.
I believe that these types of people actually do want what we want. I feel like every human being has an innate desire to be
Yeah.
something, do things outside of themselves, do incredible things. But of course, less than 1% of people end up actually doing incredible things. The other 99% kind of, like you said, stay comfortable and do just enough, do what they need to do to survive, and then get distracted. And we can get into whether or not that's their fault or the system's fault, but I don't want to get banned today, so we'll maybe save that topic for another day. But at the
Real
end of the day, some of us have incredibly ambitious minds, and you know, some of us take action and some people don't. And so to kind of come back to the question that I did ask you is how can someone who is stuck in a place of inaction or stuck in a place of comfort, stuck in a place of a constant cycle of everyday life, shift into more of a uncomfortability that helps them elevate themselves.
um so if someone is stuck in that, like you said, and truly wants to take a step forward and make some sort of change, what I would recommend is finding somebody like us. Just ask them a question, DM them. It just all it takes, the first step it takes is just take some sort of action. And that action might be a text message or a DM or a phone call or a conversation in person. And then that could set off a cascade to change that might change your entire life over the next 5 to 10 years. And you might be a completely different human being. Like for example, I have a couple mentors who have completely changed the way I think on a lot of different things, whether that's relationships or career or the way I train myself. It takes somebody that knows better than you. Like you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just ask somebody who invented the wheel. Like just talk to somebody who actually knows it. A lot of people just want to either do everything themselves or figure it out on their own, which is okay. You'll fail. It might take you longer, but I would just strongly recommend reaching out to someone who does it for a living or who's done it before.
Mm. Yeah, man, reaching out for help is always a good first step. It shows us coaches that you know you actually do want to change, because one thing you'll realize pretty quickly as a coach or a doctor or anyone who's in the fitness field is you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. All right, you can't
Absolutely.
change someone who doesn't want to change.
Definitely.
I wasted years of my life trying to uh, you know, grab the hand of people and pull them up with me. Uh, but these people just want to kind of stay stay in the bunker, you know, so to say. But it doesn't really make some. Yeah, I still struggle with that idea, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you have to leave some people behind, and that's totally okay. Now, the next topic I want to shift into is identity and how identity and the way you perceive yourself play a role in the actions that you take and your ambitions. For example, when I was 320 pounds and overweight, my identity was being the fat kid at school. Like I didn't even know who I was, but I knew I was a fat kid and I got picked on. So the actions that I took were effectively determined by my identity and how I perceive myself and how I perceived the way that others perceived me. So I want to ask you, how much does identity play a role in this fitness stuff, and does that have anything to do with people's inaction or inability to take action?
That's a topic I probably haven't thought about enough, but so if it was up to me, working in physical therapy, working in fitness, and working in sports science, I've seen every walk of life, and there are people that I believe that every person should have a little bit of their identity based around some physical goal, hobby, attribute, whatever it might be. Like I think in a perfect world, every single human being should have some sort of physical hobby because everybody needs to move their bodies. I've worked with some people that it's actually quite remarkable it's quite groundbreaking how poorly they move their bodies. It's like,
Mhm.
haven't you ever played outside as a kid? Like, I'm not trying to undermine anybody, but it's insane. It's
Mhm.
actually like, eh, like I'm actually lost for words right now, because sometimes I look at somebody, I'm like, how are you still alive?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
working in healthcare, you see some people and you're like, they haven't really exercised either ever in 30 years. They haven't really walked properly in a decade.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
and to cut you off real quick, we participate in communities and circles that are fit. Like I work at a gym, so all of my coworkers are extremely fit. So kind of our perception of the world is a little bit skewed as far as like the average person. Like you're saying, most people, I would say, are like this. Most people can't
exactly,
move their body properly.
exactly,
So to us, it's almost unfathomable until you work with X amount of people. But yeah,
exactly, exactly. So, yeah, I would say the average person, not trying to diss or disrespect anybody, the average person does not move nearly enough, nearly.
not
Um,
even close. Yeah, yeah.
Not even close. And there's more research out there, more research than days we both spent on this planet, that will support this statement I'm about to make, that exercise and eating somewhat well and sleeping somewhat well will prevent all cause mortality better than any medication, better than any surgery, better than anything.
Hmm.
It's like, just eat something that grows up from the ground, sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, move your body.
Yeah.
You'll be just fine.
Yeah, and then you could do whatever the hell, yeah, like whatever the heck else you want to do. Essentially, if you can do those basics over a long period of time, I agree.
So
Yeah.
people know it. Like, circling back to the first thing you said in this podcast, is like, people know it. People just, there's just so much information out there. We're in the era of just overwhelming amounts of information. People
Mm,
don't know where to start or how to start. They might get judged for it. It's you
mm,
just need to start, though. Start on
mm,
something and ask somebody that knows.
mm. Yeah, man, I get a lot of DM. My channel has been, let's say, doing proper the last few weeks, few months. I've been incredibly consistent, providing value to people. But the point is, I get so many DMs and texts now saying, they're so thankful for my content, and because I explain things in a way that's nuanced and context appropriate. Um, and I see the same thing on your videos, because there's just so much there's so much BS out there in the fitness industry. Um, it honestly makes me emotional to think that like all these people are just being constantly misled, constantly their attention's being captured and led in a terrible direction. And that slowly, subconsciously changes their view of fitness, their view of the world, essentially. Because there's so many influences out there that try to pull people towards their way of thinking, their little cult. Like you have your powerlifters and your bodybuilders, and although I'm a bodybuilder, I'll never have someone who's not interested in bodybuilding say bodybuilding's the best way to stay in shape. Bodybuilding's the only way you can be fit. No, dude. If you like to play tennis, you play tennis. If you like to play pickleball, you play pickleball. Shit. If you like to like ski, like it doesn't matter, bro. Like nothing. It doesn't matter at all. As long, like you said, as long as you are just not idle. Like literally anything but idleness
And
is gonna.
honestly, even to this day, as me being a doctor of physical therapy, an ex pro athlete, and someone that currently works out a lot, I'll go on my phone, I'll see some fitness influencer content. I'll see the day in the life of some 9 to 5 dude who wakes up at 5 and runs 3 miles and then eats and prays and then goes to work, comes back, like does extra work and pray. I'm like, even me, I'm like, am I do like, how do I even do that? How do I do enough? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
they're actually doing that every day,
they're not doing that every
a
day.
little better. So if someone that doesn't even do 5% of that sees that, it's like, I can't even do 5% of that. Then I'm
Mm,
going to do 0% of it.
mm. Yeah, yeah,
I think that
definitely.
that 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5 bullshit, I think that is unbelievably damaging. It's
Mm,
performative, it's
mm,
damaging, it's unrealistic.
Mm,
It's not sustainable. If you can sustain it, whatever, like you got it, bro.
mm.
You're doing great. Keep doing it. But for the other
Yeah.
99.999% of people,
Mhm.
don't even watch it. Don't even give it any of your energy. So
Right.
that's just fairy tales, sprinkles, and sparkles.
Yeah, like you said, it just puts this perception in the average person's minds that in order to be fit, you have to wake up at 4 in the morning, and basically, like, you have to wake up at 4 in the morning, go on a 3-mile run. Like, no, you could wake up 20 minutes early, take a shower and just take a brisk walk before you head to work, or you take 2 extra breaks at work, walk around the office for a minute.
Yeah,
Or after work, before jumping in your car, you just walk around the parking lot, right? The smallest the last podcast we did, this term that you said stuck with me. Pick the lowest hanging fruit of fitness that you could
yeah,
possibly find. The easiest thing that you could do, like even if it's 5 minutes, and do that across a long period of time rather than waking up at 4 in the morning every day. Just like the 75 hard conversation we've had. We won't talk about it right now, but if you guys are interested in our opinions on 75 hard, check out our previous podcast that we did. Um, but before I pivot to the next topic, is there any last thoughts you had on this one?
yes. Actually, I do want to make a example. I just remembered it, and it's pretty relevant to what we're talking about. I evaluated a woman last week, um, and she was 68 years old, but she moved and looked like she was in her 90s. And she had issues going on that I was like, I don't know if I can ever help this woman. Um, and she had an assisted device to walk around. Her back was in all sorts of agony. She could barely move her neck. She couldn't walk for more than 3 minutes before needing to take a break and was in pain. Um, Eating like garbage at home because nobody cooks. Her husband or her don't cook, so they eat takeout.
Mm,
Sleeps probably in 1 hour increments because of all her pain for decades. Probably I didn't even get to how much water she drinks because she probably doesn't drink any.
mm,
Um, it went on and on. The surgical history, how many
mm.
surgeries she had, procedures, even she could barely see out of her eyes.
I have
Um,
some people like this, and it breaks my heart. But yeah, go on.
and I'm not saying that she did it to herself because there was definitely a genetic component to this, but she was a woman that lived in a lower income house, um, lower health IQ. There's a certain something called like a health literacy.
Mm,
Her health literacy was very low. Like
mm,
if I would ask her like how much protein do you have in a day, she probably wouldn't really know what
mm.
protein is,
Yeah.
and not really her fault. I don't know what her upbringing was.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. Just a real quick. I know I have some bright people that I train, like some intelligent, bright people who like still don't know that rice is a carb and potatoes are a carb
yeah.
and meat is protein. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Some things that are intuitive to us might be completely foreign to the average person. So that's why I really try to check myself on is the
Mm.
words I'm using and the way I'm speaking to somebody. But anyway, um, my goals for her, I was like, wow, there's so much going on with her. How do I even help her?
Where do
And
I even start?
yeah,
Right.
where do I even start? And then in situations like that, where you just said, pick the lowest hanging fruit, I was like, all right, I could literally work on this woman for a decade and probably still not get better. But how do we take one step towards, how do we even take the first step? I may have mentioned this before. I was like, set a time. This is what I do for people like this who are extremely sedentary. I say set a timer for every hour. Once that timer goes off, just get up, get a glass of water, go to the bathroom, or just do a lap around the house or something. Just get up and take
Mm,
some steps.
mm,
Um, the other exercise I usually give people is just standing up and sitting down out of their chair every couple hours, doing like 10 to 15 of them. They'll completely burn them out.
mm.
And then the last one, make some sort of habitual change. So people like this usually take a lot of medication. They only drink water with their medication. So I'll say When you eat your next meal, just drink a glass of water with it. If you have 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day, just drink 1 glass of water with it. So now they're getting 8 to 16 ounces more water a day, more
Mm.
water a day. Um,
To us, that might sound like nothing, but to
yeah,
them, that's
exactly,
probably a big difference, right?
exactly, and that could be a 1% change.
Mm.
And because they're already so low, because they're pretty much at rock bottom of health, that 1% change literally might be a significant change to them.
Mm.
1%
Mm.
to them, 1% to us versus 1% to a person like that is significantly different.
Yeah,
Significantly.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
With
Yeah,
all the 1%.
yeah, man.
There's a saying I used to go by is 1% better every day.
Yeah,
Unrealistic, but if you shoot for that,
it. When I played football, coaches would always yell and shout that to us, and it never really made sense. I mean, it makes sense, but like you never really thought about it as a kid. You'd hear, oh, 1% better every day, and as a kid, you're like, the fuck does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just trying to eat cereal and go outside and play, like, you know what I mean? But like, as you grow up, you realize like that's the only thing that matters in this world. Like, that's
yeah,
literally the only thing that matters. Like, that,
yeah,
you know. Um. All right. Well, I don't want this to go on too long, but I do really want to touch on this topic real quick. As far as injuries and setbacks. All right. So we gave a lot of value on how people can get going, get started, and change, begin the shift towards changing their life. Let's say someone gets going, they get some momentum rolling, they're a few months in, a few years in, they're doing good, and then boom, big injury. They tear their ACL, they break their ankle. Um, One of my clients just found out that she had I think, a superior bicep tear, something like
mhm.
that. It just really, really got her down. She's older. Um, but the question is, what separates people who come back after an injury, after a fall off, after a setback, versus people who let it define them and let it kind of crumble them?
I would say the example you just made is also so many people, so many people. That is so many of my patients. They're like, I just had this burst of energy, motivation. I'm gonna get in shape. Went to the gym. Boom. They just triggered some crazy tendonitis in their knee or their elbow or their shoulder, and then they're like, I can't lift weights anymore. You just went from nothing to a lot. Perfect recipe for tendonitis. A lot of people will give up there. Some people will keep their energy up, go to PT, try to get solved, and then resume where they were at. What I believe distinguishes the people that stop versus keep going is once again determination. Uh, but I believe some people need wherever that determination comes from. For example, some people need to have a heart attack to get in shape. Some people need to have a stroke to start exercising, which is unfortunate, but that's once again a reality for a lot of people. Um, Maybe what motivates you is seeing somebody that had a heart attack. Because honestly, frankly, my motivation, sometimes I get out of work, I'm like, I need to go to the gym because I just worked with 15 people who could have had all their problems solved if they just worked out when they were my age.
Mm. For like 20 minutes a day.
Not, yeah,
Not
literally.
even. Yeah.
Yeah, just did something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, I feel sometimes I'll leave work and I'll be like, wow, I feel like absolute shit because I just worked with 15 people that could have just had all their life problems solved
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
they just moved their bodies.
Right. Yeah. It's
Um,
incredible.
so that can be definitely a motivator to people if they're trying to come back from a setback is like if I just broke my ankle or something and I'm just gonna let it defeat me, maybe look at somebody who let it defeat them and see where they are. If that's a
Mhm.
motivator for a lot of people, fear is an excellent motivator.
Mm. Yeah, man. It's kind of one of the reasons why I started my walking group. Not sure if you saw any info about that, but I started a free community, literally free. Like people ask me, like, how much does it cost? Like, dude, I'm not doing this for money, bro. Like, I don't think people
Mhm.
understand. Like, I used to be so overweight. I used to like hate myself so much. That like none of anything that I do, the posting, none of it's for attention or for money. It's literally the hope that I can help one person. You
Hmm.
know, crawl out of that hole that I did. I have over 40 people in this walking community, and I've gotten messages from people saying, "Thank you so much for hosting this. I haven't gone on a walk in years." And like I could cry right now, but I'm gonna hold off on that. Um, because like some people just need like a community, or some people just need a spark of light, a spark of hope. And I feel like with the direction the world is heading and just the world we live in today, like people just want to be very selfish, egotistical, negative, um, putting others down, bullying. I mean, just so many terrible things in interpersonal relationships and social communities these days. I just want to kind of create a positive community and a positive atmosphere for the average person who just wants to be a little bit more fit. Um, so my final question to you is: how important do you think it is to have some sort of community? Join a gym where you feel welcome. Have a gym partner. Um, find a coach who you actually resonate with on a personal level. Um, is that important, or do you think that all that matters is just starting and doing it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's so important. I don't have that right now because I just have my motivation and like my habits and stuff like that. So if you're already experienced, you probably don't need that. But someone starting out, I think that's huge. I think that's absolutely necessary. Someone to hold you accountable, you hold them accountable, and vice versa. Um, Someone to push you, someone to give you advice, someone to even chat with. Like if that's going to help you be consistent, you're working out with someone, you're just chatting about your day,
Mm,
about deciding what you're going to do on the weekend.
mm,
Um, Absolutely, I think that's so important because that's going to make you consistent. If that makes you consistent, if you look forward to going to the gym because you get to hang out with people, that's huge. Like
that's
you
it.
enjoy going to the gym now because you get to hang out with people.
Mm,
As a result, you're at the gym and you do 10 sets of legs.
yeah.
You're not going to get osteoporosis when you're 60.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
for example,
Right. At that point, it doesn't matter what you do while you're there, as long as you're there and you're doing something. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we both worked at the fitness company, and there's literally a community there. Like you'll walk
Huge
around,
community.
I'll see the
Yeah.
regulars, I'll see the Monday morning regulars, and be like, "Hey
Yeah.
man, what's up? What's up?" Everyone knows your face.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Um, the fitness company, great gym, great community that they built over there. The gym that I currently train at, ATR, it's a little bit more of a private gym, so it's tighter knit community. But alas, same concept. People come for the camaraderie, the community, the connection, and that's why people stay. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all I had for you, man. I just had one last closing thought. Someone listening to this falls under one of those categories of people that we talked about, maybe unmotivated, staying comfortable, kind of in this loop. After clicking off of this YouTube video, what should they do right now in order to start their journey?
Great question. I think it was already said, but I think DM one of us just for quick advice. Quick advice. Just give a little bit of information about yourself and your goals, and then easily, no problem, 5 minutes. I'm sure either of us could come up with one step to take.
Mm,
If that one step brings you to step two, ask us again.
mm,
Step three, maybe that's enough to buy a membership. Regardless, just reach out to somebody who knows and who's done it.
mm. Yeah, I always tell people who I jump on a consultation call with is, you know, um, either we work together and I get you incredible results, or I give you some advice, some tips, I point you in the right direction, and you start your fitness journey on your own. Like it's a win-win. Um, Again, of course, this is my livelihood and this is how I pay the bills and take care of myself and my family. But at the end of the day, like I always tell people, I wish I lived in a world where I didn't have to charge people to help them get in shape. Like genuinely, I feel it's kind of funny. Um, as an entrepreneur, the thing I struggle with the most is charging people money because all I want to do is help you. But at the end of the day, I got to make a living too. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
that's kind of a tangent.
Absolutely.
But
I agree.
yeah, man. Any last thoughts before I wrap this thing up?
Not really. It's good talk.
Cool. Awesome. Great talk. Fantastic talk. This should be up in the next few days. If you watched and you made it this far, thank you so much. Drop a like, comment what you want to see next. And yeah, look forward to the next one.
Cool.
Thanks for watching. Peace out. Come on. Come on. I'm waiting for it to stop the recording just to make sure. There we go.